Good morning, everyone. Good morning, fourth grade. Hope all is going well. The sun's peeking out a little bit today, so that definitely helps us feel a lot better. Get outside and enjoy some of that fresh air today, and keep on going. That's what we're doing. I was looking at your to-do list for your instruction, and for reading today, we'll be reading a wonderful story titled Owen and Emze. Can't wait to read along with you on that one today. You have a choice of a writing prompt from the grid. Math, it looks like you're going to be learning all about triangles and identifying different types of triangles. Science links back to the story you read yesterday. You'll be checking for understanding, comprehension, and your vocabulary. And today you get an art activity, which is found near the end of the packet. Reading a passage more than once is so beneficial to having a deeper understanding, and that is what I'm strongly encouraging you to do this week. I'm going to read along with on the passage with you in the packet today. That could be considered like your first read. Tomorrow, when you open up your packet and you see the activity is about this story, I highly encourage you to reread the story and complete the passage. Your target skill is compare and contrast, and comparing and contrasting is an organizational text structure that writers use, authors use, to organize the information in a writing piece. So we know that it should be full of things that show comparisons of how Owen and Emze are alike, or how they are different. And the greatest part of this story is it ties all those pieces together and lets you see why it's such an amazing story and why they're so amazing themselves. We're going to look at ways that the author has used that information as we go through the story. The topic this week, which is lining up great with all your science, is on animal behavior. By studying animal behavior, what do you think scientists are trying to find out? One thing they are trying to learn more about is how animals form social bonds or close ties with each other. Most of the time, the bonds that form between animals are easy to predict. Sometimes, though, animals form bonds that shock even the experts. Owen and Emze is a true story about a baby hippo and an old tortoise that meet at an animal rescue center. As you read, you'll find out why these two animals made headlines all over the world. When something bonds, look for those context clues. If you don't know what the word bond, form social bonds, and it says, or close ties with each other. They become really close to each other. And it does say that almost in the subtitle, the true story of a remarkable friendship. Always start off, it's Owen and Emze. Essential question: how can animal behavior be like human behavior? It's a good question, and maybe we'll just see. And maybe there's things that you can relate to in your life or people's lives that you've been around. Always remember when you read a story like this, especially this one's going to take place in a place called Kenya, which is far from here, but in Africa. Make sure that don't let the names slow you down in your understanding. We might not pronounce them precisely because they're names, and they're African names, and so they will cause us some issues, but don't let it stop your understanding. Read through the names. Okay, I always tell you this all the time in class. Just if it's an M word, say M and go on, because you don't want it to get in the way of understanding what's truly the important parts of this story. Here we go. Owen and Emze. Please follow along in your packet, okay? This story began in Malindi, Kenya, on the east coast of Africa in December 2004. A pod of hippopotamuses was grazing along the shore of the Indian Ocean. Suddenly, giant surging waves from a tsunami rushed high onto the beach. The powerful waves caused destruction for miles around. After the water went down, only one hippo remained, and it was stranded on a reef. Hundreds of villagers worked for hours to rescue the 600-pound baby. Finally, a man named Owen caught the animal, which was later named after him. The rescuers wrapped the hippo in a net and placed him in a pickup truck. People weren't sure where Owen should be taken. They called Holler Park, an animal sanctuary about 50 miles away near the city of Mombasa. Dr. Paula Kahumbo, the manager, immediately offered Owen a place to live there. She explained that he could never be returned to the wild. Since he was still a baby, he wouldn't have learned yet how to fend for himself, and he would never be welcomed into another hippo pod. He would be seen as an intruder and attacked, but they would take good care of him at Holler Park. Dr. Paula offered to drive to Malindi herself to bring Owen to his new home. And there's a map showing where Kenya is. Dr. Paula knew she would need help. She asked the chief animal caretaker, Stephen Tui, to come along with her. She knew that Stephen had a special way with animals. Some people said he could even talk to them. Dr. Paula and Stephen quickly set off in a small truck to Malindi. Meanwhile, ecologist Sabine Bayer got to work with others at Holler Park to prepare for Owen's arrival. When Dr. Paula and Stephen arrived in Malindi, they helped to remove the nets and lead Owen out of the pickup. But Owen became angrier than ever and charged at the people gathered around. They tried to help him calm down by wrapping a blanket around his head. That way he wouldn't see the things that were upsetting him. But Owen was angry about that too. After many hours, about a dozen rescuers managed to move Owen from the pickup into Dr. Paula's truck, tying him so that he would be safe during the long drive to Holler Park. Dr. Paula, Stephen, and Sabine were eager to help the orphaned hippo. Meanwhile, Sabine and other workers prepared a large enclosure for Owen. They chose a part of the park that had a pond and a mud wallow, as well as tall trees and brush, everything a hippo could want. The area was already home to a number of bush bucks, vervet monkeys, and a giant Aldabra tortoise called Mzee. Mzee, whose name means wise old man in the Swahili language, was the oldest creature in the park. At about 130 years of age, he had been alive since before Stephen's great-grandmother was born. He wasn't very friendly, except to Stephen, who seemed to know just what he liked, such as getting tickled under the chin. Otherwise, Mzee kept to himself. No one could have guessed how Mzee's life was about to change. Finally, Dr. Paula and Stephen arrived with Owen, who was now weak and exhausted. As soon as the ropes that held him were untied, Owen scrambled from the truck directly to Mzee resting in a corner of the enclosure. Owen crouched behind Mzee, the way hippos often hide behind their mothers for protection. At first, Mzee wasn't happy about his attention. He hissed at Owen and crawled away. But Owen, who could easily keep up with the old tortoise, did not give up. Slowly, as the night went on, Mzee began to accept his new companion. When the park workers checked on them in the morning, Owen was snuggled up against Mzee, and Mzee didn't seem to mind at all. At first, Mzee crawled away, but Owen wouldn't give up. Analyze the text. Fact and opinion. Find one fact and one opinion on this page. How did you tell which was a fact and which was an opinion? Can you remind me? What makes a fact a fact? That's right. It can be proven. Over the next few days, Mzee continued to crawl away, and Owen continued to follow him. But sometimes it was Owen who would walk away from Mzee, and Mzee who would follow. Bit by bit, Mzee grew friendlier. At first, Owen wouldn't eat any of the leaves left out for him. Stephen and the other caretakers were worried that he would weaken even more. Then they noticed Owen feeding right beside Mzee, as if Mzee were showing him how to eat. Or perhaps it was MZ's protective presence that helped Owen feel calm enough to eat. No one will ever know, but it was clear that the bond between Owen and MZ was helping the baby hippo to recover from being separated from his mother and stranded in the sea. With MZ by his side, Owen began to eat. As the weeks went on, Owen and MZ spent more and more time together. Soon they were inseparable. Their bond remains very strong to this day. They swim together, eat together, drink together, and sleep next to each other. They rub noses. Owen leads the way to different parts of the enclosure, then MZ leads the way. Owen playfully nuzzles MZ's neck, and MZ stretches his neck forward, asking for more, just as he does when Stephen tickles him under the chin. Though both animals could easily injure each other, they are gentle with one another. A sense of trust has grown between them. Both hippos and tortoises love the water. Analyze the text. Author's word choice. The authors use careful word choice to shape your opinion about Owen and MZ's friendship. How do words such as snuggled and inseparable shape your opinion of the pair? Wildlife experts are still puzzled about how this unlikely friendship came to be. Most have never heard of a mammal such as Owen and a reptile such as MZ forming such a strong bond. Perhaps for Owen, it happened this way. Young hippos like Owen need their mothers in order to survive. An old, slow tortoise like MZ can never protect Owen the way a fierce mother hippo could. But since MZ's coloring and rounded shape are similar to a hippo's, it's possible that to Owen, MZ looks like the hippo mother he needs. Harder to explain is the affection that MZ seems to show for Owen. Like most Aldabra tortoises, MZ had always preferred to be alone. But sometimes these tortoises live in groups, and perhaps MZ sees Owen as a fellow tortoise, the first tortoise he is willing to spend time with. Or perhaps MZ knows that Owen isn't a tortoise, but likes him anyway. Owen nuzzles MZ's ticklish neck. The reasons are unclear, but science can't always explain what the heart already knows. Our most important friends are sometimes those we least expected. News of Owen and MZ's friendship quickly spread around the world. People all over have come to love Owen, who endured so much yet never gave up. And MZ, who became Owen's friend when he needed one most. Their photographs have appeared in countless newspaper and magazine articles. Television programs and even a film documentary have been made about them. Visitors come to Holler Park every day to meet the famous friends. Analyze the text. Compare and contrast. How are Owen and MZ alike? How are they different? Use details from the text to explain these similarities and differences. Owen and MZ look out for each other. Owen's future is bright. Owen suffered a great loss, but with the help of many caring people and through his own extraordinary resilience, Owen has begun a new happy life. Most remarkable is the role that MZ has played. We'll never know for sure whether Owen sees MZ as a mother, a father, or a very good friend. But it really doesn't matter. What matters is that Owen isn't alone, and neither is MZ. And that is the true story of Owen and MZ, two great friends. Thanks for reading along with me today. I enjoyed spending the time with you. Remember, take your time, reread your passages, think about what's being said. And you know what? If you want to learn more about Owen and MZ, take a look on the internet, because there's lots of stories and lots of documents that are there for you. Documentaries to watch. Hope you have a great day. Give me a call if you need something, or message me in some way. I'd love to hear from you. Bye.